Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Superman issue 6 by Jason Aaron, Rafa Sandoval and Ulysses Areola. After the explosive Last Dust of Krypton storyline ended with Krypton destroyed and Kal-El and various other Kryptonians scattered to the solar winds, Jason Aaron takes us into the epilogue of the arc, the secret origin of Absolute Superman, as young Kal is left alone in his rocket. No idea on where he's going, with only Sol for company. The AI continues to scan for life-sustaining planets, but it's not something that happens instantly, so Kal is left on the ship for 14 months, slowly going insane from the fact they are traveling 9 million light years away from Krypton, yet have found not a single planet he can inhabit. The boy gives up hope, wanting to just die since he can no longer live in the cramped little shuttle, asking Sol to just drop him into the nearest yellow sun. The utter futility of Kal is laid out really well by Aaron, but he's at his lowest point here, no hope whatsoever, and what's interesting is while Sol soon discovers Earth, Kal's suffering doesn't stop and, his hope returns and it's like, oh yeah, you finally found Earth. No, Aaron actually doubles down on the futility because as they approach Earth, Kal's powers kick in for the first time ever thanks to the yellow sun, and he has no idea on how to handle it, and with Sol suddenly going offline, he doesn't know what to do, so he's all alone dealing with these powers. Down in Smallville, Martha and Jonathan Kent survey their dying crops, unable to understand how their crops have all but died off while their neighbours' crops over the road flourish. Martha, however, damn well knows how, as it's Lazarus' doing as they control everything that goes on in the town. This is kind of a repeat of the opening of the series, where Kryptonian farmers relied on the Science Guild to help with watering their crops with timed, paid-for rain. Society Earth is now going down the same path of Krypton, and almost the exact same way, and it makes me wonder, what if someone from Krypton is involved with Brainiac and Lazarus as well? We know that Brainiac bottles cities, so what if he has bottled a Kryptonian city from the past, bottled it up and is now using its technology in some way? Anyway, Martha knows that Lazarus is using drones to stop the rain on their fields since they won't sell to them, but Jonathan doesn't believe any of that, despite Martha mentioning things like tanks that fly like helicopters and even pits that make you younger, if you can spare the $1 million a minute price tag, that is. Jonathan knows that these stories and more are all just made up so you can't say no to Lazarus when they come around asking for you to sell, but he refuses to stop fighting against them, even when the odds are stacked completely against them. Aaron's take on the Kents here is really fucking cool, since it's capturing their classic core characters really, really well. Like, they are largely unchanged from what we usually see. We see Martha is kind of a big dreamer, imagining things bigger than the farm. She's willing to believe in things like angels and God, while Jonathan is a bit more of a realist, yet he won't let those in power bully those without power. They're good, honest folk, and I'm so interested in what else Aaron has in store for them since, as I said, right now they're pretty much how the Kents are usually depicted, especially in this part of their life, just before Kal-El arrives in their life. So there has to be that thing that maybe is completely different, and we've kind of seen like the end result where Martha is in a senior home, maybe with Alzheimer's, and I guess we'll see a little bit more of that in the coming issues. Jonathan wonders what hope that they have winning against something like Lazarus, supposing everything about them is real, so how can they ever go against something like that? But before Martha can answer, Kal-El's ship explodes into their fields, and the boy stumbles from the crash like a flaming red angel. Instead of cowering in fear of the flaming angel at their doorstep, Martha runs to help the boy while Jonathan just wants to kind of call the cops and figure that out with the authorities. This is a much more chaotic version of Kal's usual arrival on Earth. Usually there is a little bit of chaos with explosions and stuff, but it's usually pretty calm, more or less. And what's even really cool is that they actually use some of around about the same lines as they used in the 1978 film, where Martha talks about how she wanted a miracle and she'd pray for it, and God saw fit to send her an angel in the form of this boy. The Kents take the boy in and look after him as Cal's powers come and go, causing him to smash up the bed he's on, float above it, and blast the room with his heat vision. I really like Cal's narration of his time here, since he's unable to speak Earth's language, he's in an unfamiliar place, Soul isn't working, so he doesn't have his AI to rely on. He doesn't know what to do. He feels completely alone, and thanks to all of the chaos of his mind, he can't actually see that Martha Kent is there helping him along the way no matter what. Jonathan, on the other hand, knows that they can't keep the boy, since he'll be the death of them, be it from his fiery red eyes exploding the house, or the fact that they can't look after him and tend to what crops they have at the same time, meaning their farm will be taken away from them if they can't make payments. Martha is intent on helping the boy though, since it's the right thing to do, and Cal soon awakens, blasting out of the house and into the fields, his super speed having activated. Cal soon is able to slow himself down enough to take in Kansas's natural splendor, realizing this is very much like his home on Krypton, and now he has found a new home there on Earth. I really like what Aaron is doing with Cal's development here, where he's really well adjusted to certain things before arriving on Earth, like farming, living in a rural, rugged life. But then there's other things that he is not familiar with at all, like his powers and how they are having developed later than usual. He's not used to them, so they hurt him, and it takes him a while to adjust to them. Not like how when he usually arrives, he's got the powers, and they more or less just kind of develop along with him as he grows into a teenager and then adult. Here it's hitting all at once, and he's just kind of got to deal with it on his own. 2 weeks after his arrival, Cal is helping out around the farm. In his own way, that is, as Jonathan's tractor soon breaks down and Cal has to pick it up and take it back to the barn for him. I really like what Aaron does here, where he intercuts both Martha and Jonathan having a moment with Cal at different moments where they both kind of more or less say the same thing, where they thank him for everything he has done in these 2 weeks. And I like that Martha is much more natural at having a conversation like this and thanking someone, where Jonathan's kind of can't find the right words and just kind of like stumbles through it all, since he's not used to having someone help out around the farm. I really like that because it perfectly encapsulates both of these characters and who they are as people. Martha is also, much like how Lara was very handy with tools and is able to fix the tractor up. And it's cool seeing that despite Cal not being able to speak English, just from his actions and how he's acted in these 2 weeks, the Kents gather that he is a farmer's son, and he's seemingly searching for something, and they hope it's something that they can help him find. One day, while Cal is fixing the tractor again, Soul finally activates, revealing it's been charging this entire time, and it took a lot longer than anticipated. The AI is quick to reveal the yellow sun will supercharge his Kryptonian cells, but this is something that Cal already knows too well. But now with Soul active, it will be able to process and control his powers more easily. What's interesting is Cal doesn't actually care for Soul having downloaded all of Earth's history and being able to, deal with all that sort of stuff. He just wants the AI to give him the language these people speak so he can get to work, using his skills and suit to help fix the tractor before returning to the Kens and revealing that he can now speak their language. This is such a great little sequence because, well, first off, I like that he doesn't just get the suit working again and then immediately go to the Kents. He actually fixes the tractor. He finishes the job he was doing. He finishes his chores, more or less. This is like total farm boy Superman. He finishes the chore first and then goes and meets with his parents. He ends up talking to them in English for the first time since he arrived at the farm, and Jonathan is left like literally speechless that this is happening. Well, Martha, welcomes him with open arms, introduces who they are to him, and Cal makes quite the impact as he has Soul disable the Lazarus drones in the area, and it allows the rain to finally begin to fall on the farm, and it doesn't stop for a full 3 days. Aaron uses the rain as this idea or glimmer of hope for the Kents. Cal has come and he has brought back hope to a hopeless couple, and in turn they have given him hope that he now has a life on this planet, a life maybe of safety. However, that might be short-lived, as with Cal running around doing things, it attracts some unwanted attention from the mail guy, who calls in a tip to Lazarus about an immigration violation. Soon the Kent farm is swarming with Peacemakers, who attack the Kents when they try and defend themselves, and Cal, who is being detained. The Peacemakers figure that Cal is some sort of illegal immigrant since he's got no ID or work permit, so they want to take him in for processing. Cal is having none of that, using his immense power to blow up one of their tanks and free himself from their custody. Interestingly, he demands that Sol actually tell them who he is and about Krypton, since he's still quite naive and believes that these people might be able to actually help him. But Sol refuses to do so, since his main goal is to protect Cal and no one else. Realizing that he can't help anyone but himself at the moment, Cal speeds into the sky and disappears, never returning to the Kents for fear of what would happen to them. Aaron has really laid on the despair for his Superman throughout these 6 issues. He's been through the absolute ringer. His planet was destroyed, his family separated. He's just landed on this new planet, found maybe a glimmer of hope there in a place he can live, and then it's just ripped out from underneath him in only 2 weeks. In the Absolute Universe, he has only spent 2 weeks with the Kents. That's insane. Yet what we've seen him do across these 6 issues is still bring hope to those who need it and help those who need it. Cal soon reveals that upon leaving the farm, he ran for 5 more years, finding nowhere was safe and nowhere felt like home like it did when he was on the Kent farm. With Cal's origins out of the way though, we return to the present day Smallville, which is a rundown ramshackle of a town, with everything having been owned and bought out by Lazarus. Lois Lane though arrives in town and heads for the senior living center, looking to see Martha Kent, as she claims to be a friend of the family. Lois only gets 1 page here, but I do like how much it sets out of her, where she's still intent on finding the truth about Superman and what Lazarus has done, not just to the Kents or Superman or Smallville, but for everything else in the world too. Speaking of Lazarus, we also check in with Brainiac, who is talking with his boss about Lois, knowing that she is actually doing just as they planned and going exactly where they want her to go. Brainiac is rather psychotic in this little sequence. We get a little bit more about his character here, as he takes seemingly great pleasure in torturing one of the bottled cities he has, as he hooks up a cable to it and it seemingly just sets fire to the city. Which is something that brings him great joy, as he has this great big grin on his face as he does it. I also really like that we actually haven't seen Brainiac fully yet. We always only see him from like the back, or like in this part we only just see his smile, and leads me to a theory I've seen a bunch of people in my comments section and elsewhere on the internet bring up, is that what if this Brainiac is actually Lex Luthor, and they're doing the whole Brainiac and Lex Luthor molded into one character thing, which they've tried to do a couple of times. They did in the Justice League animated show. That was like a plot point in the Nicolas Cage Superman movie. So it's been done before, so I could definitely see them trying to do it again here, and it would be quite interesting. A Lex Luthor who has become a 12th level intellect would be really cool. Brainiac's boss knows that he's not the sanest, but he does deliver on his promises, and if he does deliver him Superman, he will ensure his place in his new world. We are then treated to the reveal of Brainiac's boss, and it's a doozy, as the boss of Lazarus is revealed to be none other than Ra's al Ghul, who wants Superman to kneel at his feet. Now, not once did I consider Ra's al Ghul would be a Superman villain within the Absolute Universe, let alone actually show up. Which is weird, since obviously Lazarus is strongly related to him, so it's kind of like a no-brainer, and I don't know why I didn't think of that. My guess is he's going to kind of fill in the Zod role in this universe, maybe? You know, he's already kind of playing up the Zod role here. You know, he wants Superman to kneel before him. He even kind of has that kind of Zod look about him with the big beard and the hair. I can definitely see him trying to fulfill that role. He is also kind of the antithesis of Superman here, whereas he wants to subjugate the world under Lazarus and control everything about the world and take it to ruin, more or less, where Superman wants the complete opposite of that and wants to actually help the world flourish. An interesting thing is, though, that does this Ra's al Ghul have anything to do with the League of Shadows? Because we know the League of Shadows do actually exist. They've been mentioned over in the Absolute Batman book as Joker has seemingly taken them over. So was Ra's part of them and Joker quote-unquote killed Ra's and now he's just resurrecting because we see him coming out of this Lazarus pit? So there's just so many interesting things that they could do with this, and this could be like a great sort of pull into like a Batman Superman team up coming, and it has to be coming very soon at some point. It just makes too much sense to have Ra's al Ghul here, you know, his connection with the League of Shadows, Joker, League of Shadows. There's a bit too many connective tissue there that it could actually work, and hopefully it does. I'd love to see like a world's finest in the Absolute Universe. Absolute Superman issue 6 revealed Kal-El's secret origin as he finally arrives on Earth, where Jason Aaron treats us to a wonderful yet very familiar take on the Kents. I love the amount of despair Aaron is running Superman through, yet he still strives forward and looks for hope and gives hope to those who need it. With a surprising final page reveal on Superman's first big villain for the book, I cannot wait to see where Aaron takes us, since we could literally be going anywhere now that the story has really opened up, and very excited to see where we go. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.